Heroes are not those who win. They are those who keep on fighting through their loss.
Singapore has fallen.
马来方面的日本陆军军无条件。
In 1942, Singapore was invaded by the Japanese. A young man from the Straits Settlement Volunteer Force fought for the British in a losing battle.
If I die, if my fate comes, I die, that's all. And I live to God that time.
His name was Chan Cheng Yen. After 5 days of fighting at Cluny Hill, Chan and his group were captured by the Japanese as prisoners of war.
And they say, if you run away, we will try to catch you.
They were herded onto lorries. At first, he could only smell the salty sea air. But then, he saw the trenches lined up in rows. They were pushed in. Firing squads stood above them. And then, Chan was shot in the knee.
I remember, I'm still alive. So when the first man dropped dead, I followed him, you see. I had that presence of mind, you see.
Surrounded by his fallen comrades, Chan waited for the sound of gunfire and marching to fade away before he painfully climbed out of the trench. He roamed Bedok all night. He risked being recaptured so that he could make his way back to his family. His resilience and spirit reminds us we can overcome our darkest days, no matter how bleak they may seem.
What was that line? If you wish to make your country great, educate your mother.
Napoleon. Shireen Foster, she used that quote to write to David Marshall.
Yes, Shireen Foster wrote to the Chief Minister and she said the attainment of independence will be an idle dream if men in this country do not rise to the generous heights to grant independence to their own kith and kin, the women of the country.
She was a speaker for women's rights when she was just a schoolgirl in Mumbai. I think in 1950, she came to Singapore with her husband.
They came to make Singapore their home, but she was concerned how unprotected women were then.
The marriage laws and divorce laws were very funny. Men were free to marry as many wives as they liked, and no proper protection was given and no ground was really necessary for a divorce. I thought we must do something in Singapore.
One woman did a lot.
So I organized the women of different races, invited them, the leading women of various communities, to come on a platform, and we called it the Singapore Council of Women.
The Women's Charter was passed. Polygamy became illegal and women had rights to properties, equal status, fair treatment in divorces and all.
All it took was one woman to inspire other women.
It's called Practice for a Reason, Yanti. Our founder, Madam Som Said, she started dancing when she was young as you. And do you think she became a penari contoh within a day? It takes a lot of hard work to become a model dancer in the troupe. Madam Som was only 14 when she started dancing. A friend asked her to join a group called Sri Warna. They were dancing in events and weddings.
When I joined Sri Warna, that is where I learned all the basic traditional dance movements. It's not a formal kind of training. I see lots of beautiful things in the dance itself. But after learning the dance, I fell in love. Every morning I will do my homework, my housework very quickly. I must make sure that my mother cannot scold me if I want to go out for practice. No tea dance, no picnic. All my social activities was cut because of my love for this art.
Passion and determination. Madam Som puts everything into what she loves. That pushes her to be the best.
There's nothing quite like the rush of winning a race. The sound of crowds cheering, the adrenaline rushing through you. One person might know the feeling very well. My old friend, C. Kunalan, set the national record for the 100 meters sprint in the 1968 Olympic Games. I remember watching him sprint in the 1966 Asian Games. He lost the gold medal by 0.01 second. It's so close.
I'm leading up to 99 meters. And then my friend from Malaysia, Jika, he stuck his neck out so beautifully, And then he won by an Adam's apple, he said. And then they announced the results and I didn't feel sad or anything, I felt quite happy about it.
This Kunalan, such a great sport. It's why he is such a great teacher too. We both trained together as PE teachers at the Teachers Training College. One of our lecturers, Mr. Tan Eng Yun, used to tell him, I'm one who can
see potential, and I don't like to see potential being wasted. Wow, those words he used. I didn't know what he meant.
I think the person that knew him best is his wife, Elizabeth Chong Yung Ying. Elizabeth and him didn't have it easy. Interracial marriages weren't as common back in the 1960s.
Because my parents objected our relationship. One day they said, if you want to go out with a girl, then you have to leave home. So I went to my room, I took my birth certificate, and then I'm leaving home.
One day, his father visited him and said, come back and get married in the Hindu custom. 2 years later, in 1968, Kunalan made history at the Olympic Games in Mexico. He clocked 10.38 seconds for the 100-meter race, a national record that would remain unbroken for 33 years.
Even in the 100, I was running with some big names. Such a grand thing for me. When I went down on the 100 meters, my legs were shivering. I must have been intimidated because the guy who was in that same heat as I was Charlie Green, and Charlie Green came in second in the finals later on.
Kunalan is something else, isn't he? It's not about the medals and achievements that we should be known for. It's the spirit we leave behind that defines us.